Hello Mike, how are you?
Hi Carly, how are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Very good.
So today we're having our second chat around the theme Choose to Challenge, which was a theme for International Women's Day this month. And what are we going to talk about today, Mike?
So we're going to talk about orgasms. Female orgasms.
Now you've got my attention.
And the mystery of a female orgasm. Now we need to approach that topic in a very sensitive way.
Yeah.
It's certainly a delicate topic, very private and very personal, and unspoken about.
It is, isn't it? It's almost taboo.
It is, and my experience that ladies are coming out and talking about it now because they're looking for a solution.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to say that for the first time there is a solution. Men have their Viagras and Cialis and other treatments.
Yeah.
But finally there's a hope for us to invigorate, for us to establish, for us to activate female orgasms, whereby it's become a necessity, it becomes a life-changing transformation, because we can. So that's what I'd like to share with ladies, the experience we have acquired over the years, extended from our mentor and leader, Dr. Shaz Reynolds in the States.
So intimate medical services are no longer an added extra or luxury in life. They are a necessity for many below the belt problems for women, including incontinence, loss of libido, and inability to orgasm. And it's also popular for women who are aware of the importance of nourishing their orgasm system. So Dr. Mike, how did the OShot come about? I heard it was something to do with a kinky doctor and a
Not really, there's
dinner.
No, it's very respectable
Yes.
doctor from Alabama who started the Vampire Facial and Kim Kardashian.
Mm-hmm.
And his book that he wrote and called it Activating the Female Orgasm System, he said, let's do the Vampire Facial under the belt. And the same thing applies to all our bodies. So now in England, they're applying the PRP injection to the eyes for better vision. They apply it to loss of hearing, to grow the fine nerve cells in the ears to acquire better hearing. And also the very famous treatments of tendinitis, inflammation of the tendons, and helping healing of ulcers and skin ulcerations. Dentists, they use it for teeth,
Right.
and for gums.
So you can regrow gum.
You can regrow gums, you can regrow cells, exactly like when you cut yourself and then skin forms again.
Yes.
So the idea is to invite the stem cells in our body, the power of youth in our blood to regenerate new organ, new cells, new nerve cells and vascularity. So based on this principle, Dr. Reynolds injected his girlfriend in the vagina and we had a day-by-day evolution of her orgasm system. And from there he injected himself, and we called it the P-shot, which stands for purpose, which we talk about it another day.
Yes.
International Men's Health Day. So we're going to focus on the OShot today, which has certainly been transformational, not just for the orgasm, but for the vagina organ health.
Right.
Sensitivity, responsiveness, vitality, cell integration, and good functionality. We talk about incontinence, lichen sclerosis. It's all about regaining the best of your organ and maintaining it. So now we are I'm in my 50s, but I want to have the same vitality in my sex organs when I'm 80.
I want you too. I'm in my 40s, early 40s. Yeah.
Okay, and that should go. And I have patients they're 85 years old,
Right.
Enjoying good sex life, and people, ladies and men, are discovering the potential of maintaining a good sex life. They don't want to miss out on that.
So we're nourishing and rejuvenating to maintain its youthfulness.
That's
So to speak.
that's exactly what we are doing.
Okay, so is there any downtime for having the OShot?
So the only downtime we say is 3 days. We know that the platelets will remain in the organ for 3 days.
So what are the platelets? Like, what is the PRP? Let's rewind a bit.
Yeah, so the platelets-rich plasma is engineering or centrifuging the blood, extracting the platelets. The platelets are cells, so we have the white cells, the red cells, and platelets. There are 3 main cells in the body, each of them has its own function. And we call the platelets like a suitcase full of growth factors.
Oh, I love this.
So the platelets just it's a suitcase, got the growth factors, we activate it, it releases the growth factors and release lots of other enzymes to invade the stem cells, and the cells, they talk to each other to help an organ, to rejuvenate an organ. So that's the principle. We activate the platelets, they are released, they invite other cells to do their job.
So is it fair to say a stem cell, so growth factor is the language of the stem cell, that's the communication, it communicates?
Look, there's lots of communication between
we speak
cells.
English.
Yeah, without going into details because it's very
Right.
complex, but that's in simple terms how it works.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, why do we need intimate services in medicine?
So medicine had evolved to evidence-based,
Right.
and we have evidence that what we are using to regenerate organs is actual fact. There is over 9,000 clinical reviews on PubMed on PRP. We have got evidence in medicine how we can help not just get the numbers right, but get our patients right. And how we can assist them to benefit from the great experience that of our body give us. And orgasm is one of them. It's one of your senses. And I would say my vision, if I lose my vision, I lost a great part of my life.
Right.
And the same thing comes to sexual life. It's one of the most important sense that release amazing hormone, the hormone of love, the oxytocin.
Yeah.
And the oxytocin helps the hippocampus, the limbic system, your serotonin. It's the best antidepressant that you can have. So this is medicine in your life.
How does the OShot does the OShot work? Where do you inject it? How does it become medicinal?
So 80% of ladies cannot orgasm internally.
Right.
They don't know it even exists. They say, is that a thing? Yes, it is a
it's
thing.
true. We see some of the patients coming through.
So lots of patients, they just don't even know it exists. And we need to go down to anatomy just briefly. So the erogenous zones of the vagina, the clitoris, obviously. And then we've got a few other erogenous zones inside the vagina, which is the U spot, the O spot, the G spot. Then we have the cervix, or around the cervical spots. And then at the back wall of the vagina, we've got the cells of Kegels.
So many spots.
And then there's also the P spot, which around the anus.
Can I set off all my spots at once?
And that's the idea. So the biochemical integration of all these biochemical releases, now it's called the vagina pacemaker.
Of course.
So the heart pacemaker is what your heart makes the heart goes and pumps regularly. The vagina pacemaker is integration of all these electromechanical and hormone releases.
So the pacemaker is all of these little spots combined.
Correct.
Right.
So we always say that the sum of all of them is more than adding them. So 1 + 1, all these little orgasm spots, they don't equal 5, they equal 10, because they amplified and they talk to each other. So there's definitely electromechanical stimulation by penetration. The muscle expansion of the vagina would release electrochemical waves that stimulates the erogenous zones. Now, I compare the vagina to a black room. You walk in a room and there's no light. There's no light in there, and you need to find those light switches.
Switch it on.
So you need to find the light switches, and the light switches are the erogenous zones.
Right.
So we need to educate ladies that will educate their men about those spots.
And ladies.
And these are, exactly right, and these are the spots we inject. So we inject the clitoris, we inject the U spot, the O spot, the G spot, and the posterior wall of the vagina for the cells of Kegels. So you want all those to be activated to get better lubrication, better interconnectivity. We're activating the system to get the best orgasm.
So what if my vagina is fine and I'm activated? Will it still help? Will me or other women, if everything's working okay, what would be my motivation to have an OShot?
It's a much deeper and intense orgasm. So the internal orgasm, all the wet orgasms are orgasm. They are, I call it a whole body orgasm. They're long lasting, they very intense and very deep compared to clitoral orgasm.
And it feels different.
100%.
Right.
So the wet orgasm or the squirting orgasm is a definite ultimate response or ultimate climax. So the scaneous gland is an actual gland that sits in the O spot, and stimulating the scaneous gland, there's actually a little, I would call it a hole, like the pee hole. Next to it, there is a scaneous gland hole. That's where the ejaculate comes from.
Okay.
So we're activating this gland. Why is not active? This is something I can't answer. Why are these erogenous zones inactive? It's something I can't answer. But what I know, we can activate those orgasm spots.
Right, because some women can easily activate those zones while some can't. And it doesn't mean that they're not able to be activated. And you're saying that this is what the OShot can help to nourish, replenish, and then activate the zones for the women who are finding it harder to have a whole body orgasm, internal.
So practically, I'm not going to go into the science and theory. I'm going to go into my clinical experience, whereby when a lady comes and says, well, look, now I'm getting wet orgasm. Now I'm wetting the bed when I'm having a climax. And these ladies are 30, 40, 50. My eldest is 65. She said he just has transformed because I never orgasmed internally before. So practically and clinical cases shows and prove that, as we said before, it's evidence-based. We know it's working, we know it's happening, and the best thing about it all, it's safety profile. We're using your own blood to regenerate, invigorate, activate those organs or those erogenous zones. So the beauty of it is its safety. We're not introducing anything foreign.
Right, absolutely. And so globally, it is known that Viagra is the go-to for men with sexual dysfunction. And Pfizer spokesman Daniel Watts says the typical Viagra user is age 53 and 8% of prescriptions are written for men between ages 34 and 40. So, Dr. Mike, what is the typical age of the OShot user, and is the OShot the new Viagra for women?
So my youngest is 22.
Right.
Where she realized, look, I'm not orgasming, I'm missing out. And my eldest is 65-year-old in...
These are patients, not children.
No.
Yeah.
And in men, my youngest is 26-year-old, and my oldest man is 85-year-old with amazing results.
Right.
So is it the Viagra for females? I will just simply say it's what makes the organ functionality optimum.
Yes.
So it integrates the cells to deliver the best results. So we activate the orgasm system, we increase sensitivity, we increase vascularity, it increases lubrication, it increases the thickness of the mucous membrane or the mucosa of the lining of the vagina. It gives us a better control of the bladder. it's very effective in treating lichen sclerosis. Lichen sclerosis is an autoimmune disease that eats the wall of the vagina, and it's 1 in 80 women has this disease. It's very painful, where it tears and it bleeds spontaneously, constant itch. And so far, all we have done for it is give them some cortisone treatment and creams, which had its complications and problems.
Yes.
Again, in my experience with lichen sclerosis, it's incredibly effective, where ladies, for the first time, they find relief. Now, if I go extreme to this, to atrophic vaginitis or menopausal vaginitis, or vagina atrophy after breast cancer treatment with tamoxifen. I have lots of patients who drowning of the vagina because it's deprivation from estrogen, it's all regained again by the PRP injection in the vaginal wall. So whenever we're injecting the PRP, whether it's orgasm system or orgasm erogenous zones, or we inject them around the urethra to give us a better control of incontinence, or we inject it all around the whole inside of the vaginal wall to increase lubrication, or even in the labia majora to improve lichen sclerosis, or in scars from episiotomy, that's painful scars that has been treated. So painful intercourse is a big thing that happens either because of scarring, because of giving birth, or because of dryness of the vagina. This is all changed to a healthy young cells by PRP injections.
Right, so you've just covered some of the problems that women come to you for help with having an OShot. So it's not just for nourishing the orgasm system, it can help with in a medicinal way.
Yeah.
And even after cancer, women who've had cancer treatment. So it just shows how powerful our growth factors are and that we have access to this kind of treatment. The first part of the female orgasm system is the brain. So how do feedback loops set the natural process for sex in action? Negative and positive loops. What are they about?
Look, this is more of psychology and how psychology impacts our behaviors. And it's been described as the roller coaster orgasms. And the roller coaster, it relates in your mind to a sudden impulsive fear can make ladies orgasm, depending on how it's engraved in your brain subconsciously and how it relates to your orgasms. So ladies who have a concern or a fear or preoccupied in their brain with anything, whether it's work, whether it's kids, whether it's fear, or actually incontinence, I fear I'm going to wet myself when having intercourse, and that's 40% of ladies, that will stop completely their ability to climax.
I thought that was only when you're squirting, you feel like you're about to pee.
No, we're talking about incontinence here. We're not talking about squirting. We're talking about the incontinence, and 40% of ladies with incontinence says we avoid sex.
Right.
Because that would be the most embarrassing moment.
Oh, of course it would.
So when the brain suppresses this fear of being embarrassed when climax doesn't happen. For men and women, it's the same thing, because they're different nervous system interaction.
Okay, so that's when people are saying you're in your head, get out of your head, be present in the moment, and then you can feel more with your partner.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so how does the OShot impact the lives of women psychologically then, who have these fear loops reoccurring? How can it change their fear loop?
So ladies will come and say, I'd rather watch a movie for 20 minutes and have sex, because sex doesn't do anything for me. Or I have to act as I'm climaxing because I'm embarrassed. A 50-year-old the other day, she said, well, look, I've been acting for 30 years, but I never had an orgasm anyway. So they're looking forward to this transformation, that they really enjoy themselves because it's real. They actually climax. They feel the amazing ecstasy of an orgasm.
Yeah.
I have this 39-year-old lady, and she said, well, look, is this what an orgasm is? after she had the OShot.
So she didn't
I've
even know.
never had any of this
Yes.
all my life.
Yeah.
So it's when you enjoy the pleasure of the orgasm, you look forward to having it, and you improve at the art of having sex.
Right, so that makes sense. So having an OShot is going to perhaps psychologically boost you, knowing that you've taken control of something you felt powerless over, which was having an
Absolutely.
orgasm.
Yeah.
It almost gives you a boost of confidence.
Mhm.
I would think so. Is there evidence that suggests the OShot works? What sort of evidence have we got?
Well, I have my clinical reviews. I've done
Yes.
500 OShots so far, and I don't have one failure.
Mm-hmm.
And it varies, obviously, response from one lady to the other.
Yeah.
And we have followed our patient for 3 years.
Mm.
And some ladies will come and say, I don't need any more a second shot because I'm still doing very well.
That's great.
Some ladies will respond differently. Some will respond after the first shot only.
Mm-hmm.
I would say the majority needs 2 shots to get the best results and to maintain the results for 12 to 18 months.
Right, so that's the duration of an OShot.
Yes. Yeah, certainly I suggest once a year to have 1 or 2 sessions. I suggest 2, simply because we give it the best shot we can. It doesn't double the response, but it gives you 20-30% increase over the first injection results, and it maintains it for the 12 months we need. We know that as a fact.
Can you have too many shots?
No, you cannot have too many shots, but don't have shots when you don't need.
How do you know you don't need it? If we're just aiming at nourishing the orgasm system.
Look, I have ladies who have had 4 and 5 injections. I have men who comes and have 1 injection every 2 to 3 months regularly, because they say, well, look, I really want to have the best healthy organ that there is, and maintaining it in my old years.
So how do hormones play a role in sexual pleasure?
So libido is where it all starts. And ladies can have orgasms or wet dreams simply because they have a high libido.
Right.
And libido is a response to your hormones, testosterone, DHEA, and it's important to get those at a nice level.
So how does a woman have a wet dream? Is it the same as a man? She wakes up horny?
Yes.
Right, okay.
Yes. That's what they tell me.
Okay.
Right, that's what we know. That's how far
Right.
it can happen spontaneously. So the drive and the libido by the testosterone, by the DHEA is essential as a starting point. You need to have the desire. And then the response happened by a good vagina climaxing. They're all interacting. You cannot separate hormones from responsiveness and climax.
Okay.
So if we're low in a hormone, we're going to have an imbalance, and that could be affecting why we're not climaxing. But the synergy of the orgasm system is that we have the hormones in check. Our plasma is helping to rejuvenate the other areas as well, and that becomes in check. So everything is synergistic. How much is the OShot, Mike? Or how do we go about, obtaining our rejuvenation of our vaginas?
So there's the 2 sessions of the OShot, and each session is 5 locations or 5 erogenous zones injections. They are $2,000 for the 2 sessions.
Okay, and we have them how many months apart?
Preferably 8 weeks apart.
Do you have anything else to say on the OShot for women? Like how can a woman start her journey of rejuvenation of her orgasm health?
So practically ladies come and say, I had my 2 or 3 children and I am numb down there. And I feel that it's been stretched and I'm loose and I lost sensitivity. This is the most common thing I hear, and I need to regain the pleasure of having intercourse again. So tarting the vaginal wall by laser and increase sensitivity with the OShots of the vagina tissue, the erogenous zones, the lubrication, the climax areas. It's that complete rejuvenation of the female organ.
Right, absolutely. So there's some of the ways in which you are changing the lives of women via the OShot, which is incredibly powerful and transformative. And until you've had it done, you won't recognize the full extent of the power of the OShot, and definitely recommend it to all women. So the OShot is fast becoming an impeccable necessity of the upkeep of beauty for down there, rather seen as an upkeep than maintenance, which is referred to as something that breaks down, and we're not breaking down, are we, ladies? The nourishment of the orgasm system via plasma injections is as important for longevity of your intimacy as is oxygen that we breathe. Well, I think so anyway.
Well said.
Yes, so that's about a wrap for this chat, Mike. Any final words or messages for women for International Women's Day?
Yes, certainly. It's organ health, it's confidence, it's femininity, it's self-esteem, it's being proud of who you are, and enjoy the art of living and the art of giving and the art of sexual interaction. And it's important to get better and get the best of what we do. I'll encourage all ladies to get a good knowledge, a good understanding of what the vagina, sex organ, erogenous zones are, my experience that they don't know, and to train and teach their partner. I encourage them to have a month of let's discover. It's a discovery month. Let's see what works for both of us. Let's enjoy discovering a good sex session, and you will be amazed what you don't know about your own organ.
It sounds fascinating. Wonderful. Thank you very much, Dr. Mike. It's been a pleasure again.
Thank you, Carly, and we'll meet soon for another session.
Lovely. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you.